Hey, Recovery Church, this is Daniel Snyder. Pastor Joel asked me to record a bit of a testimonial to encourage the body, and I was thinking about the idea of hope. Hope is something that I am super passionate about. I'm filled with hope. I have hope for my future. I have hope for the future of every individual that's watching this. And hope is something that I really believe is absolutely necessary to your life journey, to your recovery journey, to overcoming addiction. The Bible says in Proverbs 13:12 that hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. And I want to go back a little bit in time, well, way back in time to my early 20s, and just tell you a little story about my journey into recovery. When I first went to treatment, I was probably 21 the very first time. And for those that know me and know my journey over the last 20 years, at least 15 of those years were filled with relapses and really crazy ups and downs. And we have this, I think, hope that, hey, my son is going to treatment, my friend is going to treatment, and they're going to get better and they're going to get fixed. I was about 21. I didn't really have a clue what was in store for me. I realized that my substance use was problematic. It seemed that it was starting to affect my relationships and my ability to maintain a job, and all that stuff was starting to crumble underneath me. But I didn't know what I was in for, and I went to a treatment center. And I was like, okay, I'm going to spend 30 days here and I'm going to get fixed and life will be great. And in that treatment center, I was introduced to a program that has helped many people. Many watching are familiar with the 12 steps and Narcotics Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous and how that has benefited and worked for them. And one of the first things I remember thinking back to that time that I remember hearing was, once an addict, always an addict. And I remember thinking about that and trying to process it and realizing that for me, that statement was loaded with hopelessness. It was something that I didn't quite know how to articulate or understand or respond to, but I was having somebody tell me, hey, you are an addict and you will always be that way. Now, I realize that I'm treading on something sacred for a lot of individuals here when it sounds like I'm criticizing the 12 steps. That's not what I'm doing. What I want to do is take apart the power of a label. I entered into a place where they were suggesting to me or encouraging me to say, this is who you are. And there's something a little bit freeing perhaps in recognizing that this is who you are and this is what you're struggling with. But there's also something complicated about that's perhaps a little bit pathological, and those labels can be highly, highly destructive. And I remember sitting in that room and being encouraged or told, you need to introduce yourself as Daniel, the drug addict. And I didn't want to. I really, really resisted it. And a big part of my journey through addiction recovery has been not being defined by a label. And I really want to encourage everyone listening today that you don't need to be defined by a label. You are not just an addict. That is so highly reductive. It does not reveal the scope of any one individual. And when we talk about people in those terms, you are an addict, he is an addict, my brother is an addict, we reduce them to a set of behaviors that doesn't tell the whole story about who they really are. And in fact, I might say that we're being a little bit contradictory. We're saying you're free and you're an addict in the same breath. There's hope. But the program that really encouraged and set me free was one that said, hey, you don't have to be defined by this label. You don't have to carry this label around for the rest of your life. There is more to you than your behavior. You are free. And the verse that we've heard a million times, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. If you're being told that this is the way you're always going to be, there's not much hope and future in that. I want you to be set free from the labels. I want you to find hope in who you really are, who God says you are, your real identity. Be free. Have a great day. Be blessed.